Hey there and welcome. So, if you're here, chances are you're in that unique time of questioning, of wondering, and just listening really, really closely to your body. And it can be a confusing time, maybe even a little exciting, but definitely filled with uncertainty. We're going to walk through the very earliest signs of pregnancy, step by step, just to help bring some clarity to it all. Let's dive in and explore these first signals together. This is it, right? This is the big question. It's probably the one thing on your mind that brought you here, and it's a question that really deserves a clear, supportive guide. So we're going to break down all the signals your body might be sending, starting with those super subtle early hints, all the way to a clear plan for what to do next. Even before a missed period, and way before a test can give you a definite answer, your body can start sending out these little signals. It's kind of like your body's leaving you clues. So let's start by looking at the most common physical whispers you might be hearing right now. Okay, first up is probably the most famous sign of all, nausea. And let's just get one thing straight right away. That whole morning sickness thing, it's not always in the morning, not at all. While, yeah, it can be more common then, that queasy feeling can pop up any time of day or night. It's all because of a huge surge in hormones, especially one called HCG, which your body starts pumping out right after a fertilized egg settles in. And that's the thing, it isn't always a constant feeling of being sick. Just like this says, it can be this sudden, intense wave that just hits you out of nowhere, maybe when you're making dinner or even just sitting at your desk. That unpredictability is a classic part of early pregnancy nausea. All right, another super early clue has to do with your breasts. If they're feeling extra sore, maybe a little swollen, or even just painful to the touch, yep, that's another classic sign. And once again, we can thank those rising hormone levels, specifically estrogen and progesterone. They're already getting to work preparing your body for what might be ahead. And that process often kicks off with changes in your breast tissue. So you might be wondering, how is this any different from my usual PMS symptoms? Well, a lot of people describe it as just more intense. The key feelings are often heavier or fuller, not just a little bit tender. You might even notice the area around your nipple, the areola, getting a bit darker or larger. It's all part of the process. Next up, let's talk about being tired. And I don't mean your typical, I could use another coffee kind of tired. Nope. Early pregnancy fatigue is on a whole other level. The main culprit here is a massive increase in the hormone progesterone. It's super important for your uterine lining, but a big side effect is that it's basically a natural sedative. Plus, your body is working incredibly hard behind the scenes, and that just burns up a ton of energy. This really hits the nail on the head. It is a profound kind of exhaustion. You might feel like you've just run a marathon, even if all you did was sit at your desk. You could go to bed early, get a full night's sleep, and still wake up feeling like you could sleep for another 8 hours. That bone-deep feeling is a very, very real early clue. Okay, so let's do a quick recap of the physical clues we've covered. We've got that nausea that can show up whenever it wants, breast tenderness that just feels different, and that deep, unexplainable fatigue. And of course, the most classic sign of them all is a missed period. But as we've seen, your body often sends out all these other little signals even before that happens. But hey, the changes aren't just physical, not by a long shot. The exact same hormonal shifts causing all that nausea and fatigue are also having a major effect on your brain chemistry. And this can lead to some pretty significant emotional and sensory changes that might totally catch you by surprise. So if you've been feeling like you're on a bit of an emotional roller coaster lately, you are definitely not alone. That flood of hormones can mess with the chemical messengers in your brain, your neurotransmitters. And what does that mean? Well, it can lead to emotions that feel way more intense, super unpredictable, and sometimes, honestly, a little overwhelming. And it can feel exactly like this. One minute, you're laughing your head off at something silly, and the next you find yourself tearing up over a sappy commercial. It's confusing for sure, but it is a completely normal part of your body adjusting to this powerful new hormonal cocktail. Now, this one is pretty fascinating. Have you ever heard someone say they suddenly developed a sense of smell like a superhero? Well, early pregnancy can seriously heighten your sense of smell. You might also notice your taste buds are all out of whack, leading to some weird food cravings or making you hate foods you used to love. This is likely due to rising estrogen levels. This is such a perfect example. A smell that you used to find comforting, like fresh coffee, could suddenly make you feel sick. This new super smell can also play into morning sickness because scents you barely noticed before are now strong enough to trigger that wave of queasiness. It's a strange one, but it's a real sign. Okay, so you've been listening to your body, you've been gathering all these potential clues, you've noticed the physical stuff, and maybe some of the emotional shifts too. The big question now is, what do you do with all this information? Let's talk about how we move from just suspecting to getting a clear answer. This is probably the #1 question on your mind. And honestly, timing is everything here. Home pregnancy tests work by finding that HCG hormone in your urine. The reason waiting is so important is that HCG levels basically double every 2 to 3 days in early pregnancy. So if you wait, you give that hormone time to build up to a level the test can actually detect. So for the most accurate result possible, just follow these 3 simple steps. First, and I know this is the hardest part, try to wait until at least the day after you miss your period. This just gives your body time to make enough HCG. Second, use your first pee of the day. It's been hanging out in your bladder all night, so the hormone will be at its most concentrated. And finally, please read the instructions. Every test is a little different, and following the directions is your best bet to avoid a wrong result. Look, this whole waiting period can be really stressful, so it is so important to be kind to yourself. Actually listen to that fatigue and rest when your body tells you to. To help with the nausea, try eating smaller meals more often instead of 3 big ones. Keep a water bottle with you and just sip on it all day. And maybe the most important thing, talk to someone you trust. A partner, a friend, family. You absolutely do not have to go through this alone. So, we've walked through all the clues, from the physical signs to the emotional ones, and we've laid out a clear path to get an answer. The only step left is the one that you take. Whatever that answer turns out to be, just remember to be kind to yourself through it all. You're more informed now, and you're prepared. We really hope this guide has given you the confidence and the clarity you were looking for. Thanks so much for joining us.